am now on the WRNE Live page waiting for y'all to go active so I can be listening.
They just heard all of that. Good morning.
Are we live now?
We are.
Good morning. I'm Carl Mingers. This is Aaron Burns. We are WRME Live, Weichert Realtors.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me, not Weichert Realtors. I gotta shut that up. Okay.
Main Edge.
Main
We're
Edge.
Just Main
Okay.
Edge now.
Just slap me next time, okay?
Y'all
You
heard
do
it.
that for
Y'all-
7 years.
y'all
You just
heard
get
it.
used to it.
Y'all heard it. I get to pop him one next time.
February 17th, 2023, episode 220.
Yes.
Dadgum. Hey, man, what'd you think about that dadgum dust storm this week?
Did you see some of the photos floating around at Facebook? There were some dealerships and the cars.
Oh, yeah, all
were
the cars were
just-
covered with dirt.
yes.
You should see my Land Rover. It looks like I've been in a mud hole. You
I
know,
told my husband that's what he gets for watching my truck because I don't wash it a lot just because it always gets dirty. And I'm like, you wash it and look what happens.
yeah.
So,
I'm just doing my preliminaries. Boom. There we go. All right. We in business.
we in business. Do you got it?
All
up?
right.
You got
Had a
one?
successful closing yesterday on one
We
of our
did.
rescue properties.
Which Main Edge Solutions.
Main Edge Solutions. We did a fine job. We're taking over the property. The previous owner gets to live there for a little while,
Yep. Well, she's
making her life easier. She gets to go take care of her dad in is it Seattle or Washington?
Washington.
Okay. Way up in the Northwest. Okay. And it was just, I paid more for that property than I normally would. And I paid every penny of the closing costs.
Yes.
But her situation was unique. Her dad needed help.
Her sister had
And,
broke her foot and couldn't do it, so she had to go back.
Right. And it was just it's an overall win. And I love it when the weight of the world is lifted off of somebody.
But we were able to pay more, or you were able to pay more because the numbers worked out. It was a
Right.
win-win for everybody in the end.
And a lot of the houses I buy are houses that people have bought or tried to rehab or do something like that. And rehabbing houses is expensive.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. You can watch HGTV all you want, but dadgum. The reality of it is it takes cash. And
Cash and know-how.
yeah, and staying on top of your contractors and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you've constant communication. And if you got a full-time job, that's tough to do.
Right.
I mean, it eats up a ton of my time. But that's what we're in this business to do.
And if you're not doing the work yourself because you don't know that you are now, the foreman pretty
Unless
much
you're
of
qualified to go
that.
do these things, you really shouldn't do it, because a lot of these people, they get in, they do the HGTV stuff, and we end up having to go redo it because they see these neat ideas on TV that don't actually work well.
Well, and that
around
affects
here.
on the other end too. You'll see these people and they'll, be updating their house. I updated my kitchen. I updated this. I updated that. And I spent $20,000 on my new kitchen, so my house should be worth $20,000 more. That's not how that works.
And also, did you update it to the colors you liked and not what's in the market?
And did you upgrade it to more than the neighborhood? If you're in a modern neighborhood, you don't necessarily need granite countertops and the high in this and high in that, because it's not really going with the neighborhood,
Right.
So when we compare to other houses, it doesn't affect it like you hope it does. So, and why spend money on granite when there's quartz and all kinds of other stuff that's just as nice and easier to maintain and keep?
Right. So, I mean, we're going to rehab this house. It really doesn't need a lot of rehab. It definitely needs paint. Okay. We've got some wild colors
Yes.
to deal with. A little bit of termite damage to deal with, but that's
Oklahoma, that's a given.
that's Oklahoma. You're going to have termites. If it's not now, it's when. Unless you got a metal building, and then you just better watch your cabinets because they'll get into there. I remember looking at a building down here on 104th Street. It was a steel building. I mean,
Uh-huh.
steel house, steel studs, steel everything. But the termites had come up through where the plumbing comes through the floor, through
Right.
the foundation, and they had chewed through the paper on all the drywall
Oh, no.
that was done in there, and then ate the back out of the cabinets where the sink is and all that stuff. They just had a heyday.
Buffet.
Yep, that's basically it. Have we had any nightmares this week? I mean, besides getting all these things closed,
No. This week was nice.
you know, the first closing we had, I guess it was earlier in the week or last week, where we never saw anybody from the other side.
Yeah, that was the first of the month.
That was unique. You know, I'm used to seeing the realtors on the other side, buyers
or at
and
least
stuff
talking
like
to
that.
him. We do a lot of talking, communication, text, email, phone calls, like communication. You might not always see them face to face more than like inspections,
Right.
appraisal, and
But still,
closing.
generally, I see the realtor on the other side, and we get to chit chat a bit. But being totally kept apart, of course, they became adversarial, which I do not believe in adversarial real estate. That is just bogus,
Right.
just wrong. It's just not right. And so, but title company kept us totally apart.
Yep.
Kept our seller, insulated, because our seller was none too happy with them.
Our seller was very
Okay.
unhappy. Unfortunately.
I mean, I understand where he's coming from. And life's stressful for everybody right now. But, his wife has a medical condition, and he's been traveling a lot for work.
Right.
It's just, he didn't need to put up with some of the demands that they did.
And that's one of the things when we're dealing with it. We try to be, I guess the best way to put it is courteous, because we don't know what the other side is dealing with or what the situation
Or
may be.
what they've dealt with in the past.
Right. So when we're sitting there and I'm trying to negotiate anything, that's why I like to talk to the other agent and be like, where are they coming from? If you can get that. And sometimes it's realistic and it's, okay, we get it, we'll see what we can work out. And other times it's just like, this isn't realistic. Like, this is completely bogus.
One of the things on this
set
deal was
expectations.
the inspector sold them on
Scope.
a scope of the sewer lines. Okay, this home, I sold this to the previous owner over 10 years ago.
Right.
Okay, they've never had a drainage problem. He keeps everything up, and just great. But because they'd had a previous problem in their previous house, they were extra worried about all this stuff. So, don't create issues that aren't there.
Well, and understand too, if you're buying a house, whether it's 1 year old, 2 years old, 40 years old, 100 years old, there's gonna be issues. It's a lived-in house.
Mm-hmm.
It's aged.
What about the one house we went
Upkeep or
to?
not.
Was that 3 years old house?
Yes, plumbing problem.
Plumbing problems inside the foundation. These people, I feel terrible for them because they bought a brand.
Stuff like that happens.
And they've spent thousands of dollars trying to fix the leak in the foundation. It's a very frustrating deal. I mean, they
It
just
is.
they didn't deserve what they got.
But the point is, if you look hard enough and long enough, you will find something, especially on an older house.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's a deal breaker or it's gonna. We bought our house, 10 years old when we bought it, maybe. Everything was fine when we did inspections. Heat and air went out a year or two afterward. We had to completely redo it. It happens. I mean,
It happened. Yeah, when
Part
we
of
bought our
owning a
house, it was
house.
35 years old. And they'd already come in and redone the plumbing because it had the old copper
Right.
pipes. And they'd already come in and redone it with PEX overhead and all that other stuff. And, I walked in and bought it before my wife even had a chance to think about it.
no.
And I call her up on the phone after I sent the offer over. I says, Hun Pie, we bought a house.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. We already had a house. It was a mess. She was scared, but I wasn't.
Yeah. So, but point is, you're going to have maintenance, upkeep, stuff is going to go wrong. You can't buy a house and have everything completely fixed if it's a resale. If you want to have less of a gamble, look at new construction, and even then, it might not be perfect.
You know, a new house should have a 1-year builder's guarantee on everything, and I think they've had problems with this house from the get-go.
Yeah.
But you know, it's crazy, and you know, but there's ways for us to help them, but not with as much money as they need.
Right.
You know, they think they need anyway. Some people need to relocate, and they need to relocate sooner rather than later. And you know, as our market is totally shifted, you know, sometimes you're gonna have to bite the bullet a little bit. So.
Especially remember when we had everybody paying way over market value. Those people.
We still have a lot of that
Could have a
lingering
hit.
going on. People
Yes.
thinking that's going on, and that is not happening in our market right now. Now, there's areas in the country where they're taking big hits already.
Yes.
We have not seen that here. You know, everything's flattened out. We still have a high housing demand, people moving from California and stuff like that. But, you know, the days of overpaying, I think, are quite past.
Yes.
What else we got today?
Not a lot. It's been a pretty boring week.
Except
Not
for the
gonna
dust
lie.
storm, it was just
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, Frosty's doghouse went a good 50 yards down the driveway. I mean, that thing's heavy. Took me a half hour to drag it back.
I think the most exciting I had was the fiber optics people blocking my driveway yesterday. AT&T fiber optics going in our neighborhood. Yay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up. We are Main Edge Realty, where
There
we
you
do
go.
real life real estate every day.